It began with tragedy. It ended in suspicion. And somewhere in between, 3 women died. The first was Claire. Claire Parker was 28, full of energy, laughter, and the kind of practical intelligence that made people admire her. She worked as a physical therapist in Raleigh, North Carolina. Tall, with auburn hair and striking green eyes, she had met Richard Holloway on a camping trip in the Blue Ridge Mountains. He had smiled as she pitched her own tent without help. "Not many women know how to handle a pole like that," he'd joked. She rolled her eyes, but laughed. 1 year later, they were married. Their marriage seemed happy, at least from the outside. They bought a little ranch house with a porch swing and a Labrador named Moose. But Claire started telling friends that Richard was moody. He didn't like when she went out with friends. He said it made him nervous. Then came the tire. It was a rainy October evening. Claire had just left work when she called Richard. Flat tire, side of the road. Couldn't get it off. He came within 20 minutes. According to police, she was trying to loosen a lug nut as he stood nearby. A car swerved off the road, hit her, and sped off. Claire was killed instantly. There were no cameras, no witnesses. Richard was inconsolable. The driver was never found. Insurance paid out $250,000. 6 months later, Richard moved to Charleston, South Carolina, and within a year, he remarried. Her name was Elise. Elise Thompson Holloway was 35, a graceful art gallery owner known for her taste in modern sculpture. Petite, with chestnut curls and deep brown eyes, she met Richard at an auction. He'd been trying to bid on a painting, badly. She laughed at his lack of knowledge and offered to teach him. That night, they had wine. 2 months later, they were dating. 8 months after that, married. Richard seemed a little different this time, more charming, more polished. Elise told her sister that Richard was incredibly romantic. He planned weekend getaways and surprised her with poetry. But her sister Diane thought something felt off. "He smiles too much," she told Elise. "It feels rehearsed." On their second wedding anniversary, Richard took Elise to a mountain cabin in Tennessee, isolated but beautiful. He told her to dress up for a surprise. The surprise was a dinner, candlelit, homemade, with soft jazz playing. Elise, touched, snapped a picture of the table. Her last social media post read, "Happiest girl in the world." That night, she fell down the stairs. Richard claimed she'd gone to get wine from the basement and missed a step. The police ruled it accidental, although there were whispers. Elise had bruises on her arm that seemed older than the fall. The medical examiner noted them, but wrote nothing definitive. Richard buried her in Charleston and inherited her art collection and life insurance policy, worth $400,000. He vanished for a while after that, until he turned up in Savannah, Georgia. The third was Natalie. Natalie Green was 42 and owned a successful yoga studio. With golden blonde hair and a soft voice, she brought calm into any room. Divorced once, no children, she focused on her business and her rescue cat, Jasper. She met Richard in her class. He told her he was recovering from grief, trying to reconnect with life. He looked thinner. His hair was longer, his smile less polished. They dated slowly, 6 months before she even met his friends, though no one really knew where he worked. Consulting, he'd say vaguely. When he proposed, she was surprised, but thrilled. He's been through so much. she told her best friend. I want to give him joy again. They had a small wedding, just close friends and family. They moved into her house, but Richard insisted on redecorating. He changed the locks, got a new alarm system, said it made him feel secure. Then came the coconut. Natalie was severely allergic, anaphylaxis level. Everyone knew it. She carried an EpiPen religiously. One Saturday morning, they went to their favorite cafe. Richard ordered her usual egg white omelet, oat latte, no sweeteners. She took one bite and froze. Her throat started to close. Panicked, she searched her purse. No EpiPen. Richard ran to the counter, but it was too late. She collapsed on the floor, eyes wide with fear. A nurse who happened to be nearby tried CPR. Paramedics arrived, but she died en route. The omelet had been cooked in coconut oil. Her best friend Jenna couldn't believe it. Natalie checks everything. She reads every label. When police questioned Richard, he looked devastated. I must have forgotten to check, he said. I didn't think a cafe would use coconut oil. Jenna wasn't buying it. She called the cafe. They confirmed Richard had placed the order himself and asked specifically for the omelet to be cooked in coconut oil, claiming she prefers it. That's when the detective reopened all 3 cases. Detective Lillian Moreno had heard whispers of Richard Holloway before. A charming man, widowed 3 times, always tragic circumstances, but nothing stuck until Jenna's call. The more she dug, the stranger it became. Claire's death had no witnesses. The tire had no prints. The police file had been closed quickly, but a note buried deep in the report mentioned that Claire had recently increased her life insurance and named Richard as the sole beneficiary. Elise's fall? The cabin had no railing on the basement stairs, but her sister had texted Elise 3 days before. If anything ever happens to me, look at Richard. No one followed up on it. Now Elise's art pieces were in storage under Richard's name, valued at $700,000. Natalie's case was different. A pattern emerged. 3 women, 3 sudden deaths, all insured, all with Richard present. Detective Moreno brought Richard in for questioning. He played the grieving widower role with precision. I've been cursed, he said. I lost the only women I've ever loved. But he slipped. When she asked about the omelet, he said, she always loved coconut. But she was allergic, Moreno said. Oh, I meant the smell. Later, a search warrant revealed a locked drawer in Natalie's house. Inside were documents, insurance policies, copies of their wills, even notes where he practiced Elise's signature. Richard Holloway was arrested for the murder of Natalie Green. He was never charged for Claire or Elise. Both cases lacked enough evidence. Witnesses had died, memories faded, documents lost. But the press dubbed him the Widowmaker. At trial, his defense argued it was all tragic coincidence. He cried on the stand. The jury didn't buy it. He was sentenced to life in prison.